In 2016, 11.5 million files were leaked from Mossack Fonseca, the world's fourth largest offshore law firm. The leak detailed hundreds of thousands of offshore entities and shell companies connected to over 200 countries and territories, involving prominent world leaders, politicians, business persons, and the super wealthy. In this video, we go over the oh-so-scandalous Panama Papers, and how the rich have been hiding their money to avoid taxes. This is Fraud Explained. To enjoy more videos, subscribe to my channel and click the notification bell, or else I'll be looking into you too. The Panama Papers enumerated more than 200,000 companies, trusts, foundations, and funds incorporated in 200 countries, and countless names of the wealthy people who made use of Mossack Fonseca's services to protect their wealth from taxes. Who are the biggest names in this scandal? Watch until the end to find out. The usual first question is, why should you care? This directly affects you because every year about $70 billion that the US could be using for infrastructure, law enforcement, healthcare, or education is simply not there. It's buried deep within layers and layers of shell companies and anonymous entities in places like the British Virgin Isles and Panama. At the heart of it all are offshore law firms like Mossack Fonseca. Featured in countless books and hit Netflix movie The Laundromat, Mossack Fonseca was a Panama-based law firm founded in 1977 by German lawyer Jürgen Mossack, who was later joined by Panamanian novelist lawyer Roman Fonseca. It specialized in commercial law, trust services, investor advisory, and international business structures. Their vision was to be the McDonald's of the offshore system, offering anonymous shell companies at high volume and low cost. The firm had 9 offices in China, several in Latin America, others in the US and Europe, and 2 in Switzerland. Lawyers from the firm were sent to foreign countries to promote business in Panama and Panamanian financial products. Shortly after the Panama Papers were leaked in 2016, Mossack Fonseca shut down in 2018 after being accused by US prosecutors of helping clients hide assets, investments, and income from government tax authorities using a wide range of fraudulent foundations and shell companies. Both executives declined to comment regarding this, maintaining their position that the massive leak of the firm's internal documents consisted of information theft or hacking that was illegal. What's the big deal? What is a shell company anyway? Setting up a shell company is easier than you think. In fact, it's even legal. This is done in places like Panama, the British Virgin Islands, Delaware, or Nevada, where there are strict laws to protect the beneficial owner with different aspects of lawyers of anonymity. A common way of doing this is paying for fake directors who pretend to be the public face of this company. To clarify though, a shell company is not necessarily illegal. The problem lies in the resulting lack of funds that's supposed to go to social services like infrastructure, healthcare, police, and education. The bottom line is a lot of tax avoidance and tax evasion is going on through this world of secrecy. To give you an idea, tax authorities around the world have collected more than $500 million based on the Panama Papers leak. The document exposed a complex network of more than 200,000 tax havens, involving people and entities from 200 different nations. The document was first given to the Süddeutsche Zeitung, or SZ, one of the largest newspapers in Germany, who, with the International Consortium of Investigative Journalists, or ICIJ, deciphered the encrypted files before revealing the details to the public. Among those named in the leak were a dozen current or former world leaders, 128 other public officials, and politicians, and hundreds of celebrities, business people, and other rich individuals. The documents were released on April 3, 2016, and dubbed them the Panama Papers, named after the country they were leaked from. Who are the biggest names involved in all this? Stay tuned. The origin of the controversial document was an anonymous source calling him or herself John Doe in 2015. Doe didn't demand any financial compensation in return, according to the SZ. The total volume of data comes to about 2.76 terabytes, making it the biggest data leak in history, and dates back as far as the 1970s. After providing the document, it was a full year before John Doe made his first public statement, offering to help authorities in return for immunity. In the 1,800-word statement, John Doe revealed that he or she has never worked for a spy agency or a government. He starts the statement, "The revolution will be digitized," by declaring income as one of the defining issues of our time. He then stresses that banks, financial regulators, and tax authorities have failed and decisions have been made that have spared the wealthy while focusing instead on reining in middle and low-income citizens. He also stated that global judicial systems have utterly failed to address the metastasizing tax havens spotting Earth's surface. He said that founders, employees, and clients should have to answer for their roles in these crimes, only some of which have been revealed thus far. The John Doe statement came shortly before then U.S. President Barack Obama delivering an address regarding the economy, in which he cited the Panama Papers as highlighting the problem of corruption and tax evasion. He said the U.S. would require banks to identify those behind shell corporations and do a better job of making sure people pay taxes. Just to reiterate, there are legitimate uses for offshore companies and trusts. I do not intend to suggest or imply that any persons, companies, or other entities, including in the ICIJ Offshore Leaks database, have broken the law or otherwise acted improperly. It's just some of the shell corporations set up by Mossack Fonseca were revealed by reporters to have been used for illegal purposes, including fraud, tax evasion, and the avoidance of international sanctions. At first, it was only a small number of politicians, public officials, businessmen, and others involved that were revealed in the document. One of the first big hits happened in Iceland on April 4, 2016, when Prime Minister Sigmundur David Gunnlaugsson resigned, reportedly because of his involvement. Shortly after, all of the more than 200,000 offshore entities named in Panama Papers were released through a database on the website of the International Consortium of Investigative Journalists. Let's take a look at some of the big names included. In entertainment, singer Shakira, famous for hits including Hips Don't Lie and Whenever Wherever, is named in the papers as having transferred $37 million in musical rights to an offshore firm called Marta Tournesol Limited, based on the island of Malta. One more is pop star Madonna, revealing to have been a shareholder in a medical supply company in Bermuda. The company was registered in 1997 and shuttered in 2013, the papers show. Even U2 frontman and charity advocate Bono was not spared and was cited as having used a company based in Malta to pay for a share in a shopping center in a small town in the northeast of Lithuania in 2007. In sports, Formula One world champion Lewis Hamilton, in the same year as his fourth championship title, was named to have avoided tax on a $20 million private jet by receiving a $4.1 million VAT refund. Another was Leonel Messi, star Barcelona football player from Barcelona, was revealed to own with his father, Horacio Messi, an offshore company, Megastar Enterprises, based in Panama. This was amidst investigation in Spain on charges that he and his father used offshore companies in Belize and Uruguay to avoid paying millions of dollars in taxes. I've saved the best for last, those in the government and royalty. First, Hugh Grosvenor, Duke of Westminster. Britain's billionaire's name appears on the Panama Papers connected to two offshore trusts set up by Grosvenor family in the 1960s and 70s, long before his birth. Because of this, Grosvenor reportedly managed, thanks to his family's thoughtful planning, to avoid paying 40% death duties, usually paid when assets pass from one generation to another. More scandalous for royalty is Her Majesty herself, Queen Elizabeth II, the Duchess of Lancaster, which provides the Queen with an income and handles the investments for her $600 million private estate, was shown to have invested as much as $12 million offshore in funds based in the Cayman Islands and Bermuda. Alongside the Queen is Russia's President Vladimir Putin, who, though not directly named, is connected to a network of secret offshore deals and vast loans worth $2 billion that have made members of Putin's close circle fabulously wealthy, or shall we say, filthy rich. Though the president's name itself is clean from any of the records, questions arise because his friend's million-dollar deals would not have been possible without his patronage. The documents further suggest that Putin's family benefited from this money because his friend's riches appeared his to spend. Those are the Panama Papers, ladies and gentlemen. Whom were you most surprised among the names given? Let us know down below in the comments, and I will be responding to all those made in the first hour. The bigger questions are, how would they have gotten away with this, and how is this even legal? That's what you can find out in my other video, How Do Shell Companies Work? In this video, I'll share with you how the super wealthy hide billions using tax havens and shell companies. Stay tuned, stay educated.